Saudi Arabia's ambitious stadiums for the 2034 FIFA World Cup. How much does it cost to build a football stadium? Now imagine taking that stadium off the ground and suspending it 1,150 feet in the air. Imagine walking through a city where stadiums don't just sit on land, but float above deserts, rise from mountains, and glow over the sea like futuristic monuments. A place where football is no longer just a sport, but part of a national transformation story unfolding in real time. That sounds impossible. But Saudi Arabia is reportedly exploring exactly this kind of futuristic concept as part of its plans for the 2034 FIFA World Cup. And this is only the beginning. Saudi Arabia is planning a massive collection of stadiums for the tournament, with the broader development effort involving investments of tens of billions of dollars. The goal is not simply to host a World Cup. Saudi Arabia wants to create an entirely new vision of what a sports venue, and even a modern city, can look like. This is not just construction. It is reinvention. At the center of this ambitious plan is the proposed King Salman International Stadium in Riyadh. With a planned capacity of around 92,000 spectators, it is expected to become Saudi Arabia's largest stadium, and is planned to host the opening ceremony as well as the World Cup final. But beyond size, it is the feeling of the place that designers are trying to redefine. The scale of the project is enormous. Thousands of tons of steel and hundreds of thousands of cubic meters of concrete would be required to create a structure capable of holding tens of thousands of people. Entire construction zones would operate like small cities, with engineers, architects, and workers shaping what could become one of the most iconic stadiums on Earth. But the most fascinating part may be its design. Inspired by traditional Saudi geometric patterns, the stadium's exterior is envisioned with a dramatic appearance that could transform depending on the time of day. During daylight, the facade would appear solid and imposing, almost like a fortress rising from the desert. At night, lighting from inside could make the structure appear almost transparent, turning the entire building into a giant illuminated landmark visible from miles away. It would not just host matches. It would dominate the skyline. And then there is the heat. Riyadh can experience temperatures above 100 degrees Fahrenheit during the summer. Keeping tens of thousands of spectators comfortable in that environment requires advanced climate control technology. Engineers are exploring cooling systems that combine underground air circulation, shaded architectural layers, and energy-efficient airflow designs to make the desert feel almost artificial in its comfort. Now move away from Riyadh and toward the mountainous region of Qiddiya. Here, Saudi Arabia is developing another extraordinary venue, the proposed Prince Mohammed bin Salman Stadium. Rather than simply sitting on flat ground, the stadium is designed to integrate directly into the surrounding mountain landscape. Part of the structure would open toward the horizon, giving spectators dramatic views of the surrounding cliffs, valleys, and Riyadh's distant skyline. It is a stadium that doesn't fight nature, it collaborates with it. The concept is simple. Instead of fighting the natural environment, use it as part of the architecture. Wind, rock formations, and elevation become part of the spectator experience, making every match feel like it is happening inside a natural amphitheater carved by time itself. The stadium is also being designed as a multifunctional venue. Its playing surface could be adapted for different events, allowing the facility to host much more than soccer matches, concerts, esports tournaments, cultural festivals, and even global conferences. Back in Riyadh, another landmark stadium is receiving a futuristic makeover. The King Fahd International Stadium, which dates back to the 1980s, has long been recognized for its distinctive roof, inspired by traditional Bedouin tents. Now, the historic venue is being transformed with modern technology, including large LED displays, smart seating systems, and upgraded facilities. The idea is to preserve the stadium's identity while giving it a completely new digital personality. One that can change colors, patterns, and atmosphere instantly depending on the event. On Saudi Arabia's eastern coast, in Khobar, another major venue is planned, the Aramco Stadium. Its architecture is designed to reflect the area's relationship with the sea. A striking facade made from thousands of lightweight aluminum panels is intended to create a wave-like appearance, giving the stadium a dynamic connection to the surrounding coastline. From above, it may look like a structure rising from the ocean itself, constantly shifting with light and reflection. And then there is Abha. Located high in the mountains, the region presents a completely different engineering challenge. The proposed King Khalid University Stadium is planned at an elevation of roughly 2,200 meters, more than 7,200 feet above sea level. At that altitude, thinner air and cooler temperatures create different conditions for athletes and spectators. The design therefore has to take the mountain environment into account, while using natural airflow and modern climate technology to maintain comfortable conditions. Instead of fighting altitude, the stadium embraces it, turning natural conditions into part of the sporting experience. Notice the pattern. In the desert, Saudi Arabia is trying to turn extreme heat into an engineering challenge. Along the coast, it is using the sea and maritime environment as inspiration. In the mountains, it is incorporating elevation, terrain, and natural airflow into the design. The environment is not simply an obstacle. It becomes part of the stadium. But perhaps the most futuristic concept of all is the proposed NEOM Stadium. This is the project that sounds almost like science fiction. The stadium is planned as part of the line, Saudi Arabia's proposed futuristic linear city in NEOM. Instead of being built at ground level, the concept calls for the stadium to be located roughly 350 meters, about 1,150 feet, above the ground. Imagine arriving in a city where you don't walk to a stadium, you ascend to it. High-speed electric transport systems, glass elevators, and automated transit lines would carry fans upward through layers of futuristic urban design until they reach a stadium floating above the desert. A venue capable of holding around 46,000 spectators, surrounded by futuristic architecture and connected to an entirely new urban transportation system. Instead of sitting in traffic for hours, visitors are envisioned using high-speed electric transportation and elevators to reach the stadium in minutes, turning travel itself into part of the experience. From the outside, the futuristic structure could reflect the surrounding desert and sky, allowing it to visually blend into the landscape during the day. It might appear almost invisible from certain angles, like a mirage suspended in the air. At night, thousands of lights could transform it into a glowing landmark suspended above the ground, visible like a second horizon in the sky. Inside, the seating would be arranged to provide spectators with clear views of the field, while advanced acoustics could make the roar of the crowd feel even more powerful, echoing like thunder inside a floating arena. It sounds less like a traditional football stadium and more like a scene from a science fiction movie. And that is exactly the point. Saudi Arabia is not simply building places to play football. Through its Vision 2030 strategy and enormous investments in infrastructure, tourism, entertainment, and technology, the country is attempting to reshape its economy and global image beyond oil. The 2034 FIFA World Cup is becoming part of that larger ambition. Football, a sport that began as a simple game played with a ball and a field, is being transformed into a symbol of architecture, technology, tourism, and national ambition. But one question remains. Are these futuristic stadiums the blueprint for the cities of tomorrow? Or are they simply incredibly expensive dreams suspended between ambition and reality? When the world arrives in Saudi Arabia for the 2034 World Cup, the biggest spectacle may not be what happens on the field. It may be the stadiums themselves.